Hello friends, my name is Leigh and I create videos about photography as an art and as a lifestyle. Today I am going to start out with a confession. We were approached by TTArtisan to see if we wanted to review one of their newest lenses. It is a 250mm lens that works at f5.6. Interesting, I thought to myself. Upon reading further, I learned it's an M42 mount lens, so we'd be using an adapter for our mirrorless cameras. No problem there. But I would also read that this is a mirror lens. I have to admit, I panicked a little bit. Mirror lenses do not have a stellar reputation in photography. There are a few different reasons for that. But look, Raymond and I are a little defiant, and we're not going to prejudge any piece of gear until we try it for ourselves. But I have to admit, there was a little bit of negotiation between Raymond and I for even agreeing to review this lens. Now, will this lens change our perceptions, or will we be among those who are afraid to look in the mirror?
I am super glad that Leigh was willing to work this mirror lens project together with me. And I agree with her. Mirror lenses can have a bad reputation. We had not used one before, but with all of the negative PR they seem to get, and contrarians that we tend to be, it was time to put a mirror lens to the test. And this TTArtisan lens has a couple of attributes that made us curious. For one, the M42 mount. Do we have an M42 mount camera? Absolutely not. But the M42 mount is designed for cameras with a long flange distance, meaning that this lens can be adapted to virtually any mirrorless body. Compatibility is virtually guaranteed using an adapter because the lens has absolutely no electronics or ability to communicate with a camera body in any way. And most mirrorless bodies will let you mount and use lenses without electronics in a way that you'll be doing some, or really most things, manually. You don't have to worry about setting aperture with this lens. You can't. This is an f5.6 lens. And I mean that. The aperture you will be using with this lens is f5.6, not f5.6, f8, and f11. Most mirror lenses, this one included, do not have an adjustable aperture due to the architecture of the lens. We were actually pleased to see f5.6 as the aperture, as the mirror lenses we had seen in the past from other manufacturers tend to be f8, which can be challenging to shoot with depending on available light. You are manually focusing, unless, more on that in a minute. With mirror lenses, the bokeh is rendered in a way that many people do find questionable. You will get circles, or as TTArtisan says, donut bokeh. It's not for everyone, and we'll put some examples up on the screen, but who says that we won't challenge ourselves to take advantage of the circular bokeh effect? There's no avoiding it because of the secondary mirror in the design of mirror lenses that sits right in the middle of the front element. Okay, let's recap. 250mm prime lens, no aperture control, manually focusing for now, unusual circular bokeh, and a type of lens with a less than stellar reputation for usability, sharpness, and contrast.
What kept me coming back to this lens is the compact size for the focal length that it delivers. If this could work as a telephoto lens, but not take up any space in my bag that a large non-mirror telephoto lens would. Could this be a telephoto solution for days where I don't really plan to shoot telephoto, but I'm also not sure what's going to come my way? That was good enough for me to go on and have faith that we would be able to potentially find purposes for this lens while packing light and still getting very close to faraway subjects. We were off to the nearby Walnut Canyon National Monument to figure this out. Cliff dwellings, portraits, birds, and a hike in and steep climb out of the featured cliff dwelling area that has you wanting to leave your heavy gear at home. So that's what we did. The 250mm lens adapted to our Nikon Z7, and then we also had our Fujifilm X100V and our phones to help capture the action. Well, color me impressed.
While we did not run head-to-head comparisons with other lenses, we have plenty of real experience with zoom lenses that cover the 250mm range and with some telephoto primes. And while this lens is not going to be as sharp as a $10,000 fast aperture prime lens, it's not too far off. And in our view, it does outperform mid-telephoto zooms at the 250mm focal length. For a lens this size, and at a $319 price point, that is a huge win. There was one more thing that we wanted to try. In 2020, we reviewed a Megadap M lens to Nikon Z body adapter that brings autofocus to M mount lenses that inherently do not autofocus. It does this with the adapter's ability to control the distance from the lens to the camera body, interpreting focus commands from the camera. If we took an M42 to M adapter and connected to this lens, and then connected the adapter side to the M to Z autofocus adapter, could we autofocus with this manual focus telephoto mirror prime lens? It was time to get to work. And I will tell you the answer. Yes, we could. Is it the same as having the latest autofocus Z lens on your Nikon mirrorless body? Absolutely not. It's slower. It makes a zip zip noise as you're focusing. But it does work, and it makes using the lens easier for capturing faraway subjects. The lens and adapter combination prefer a lot of light for the best autofocus performance that it can offer. And if it's hunting, you can help by engaging the manual focus ring to assist, and it does the job.
It is a light lens. The form factor, even with the adapter, is quite small for a 250mm lens. Full frame telephoto and a compact form factor on a fairly compact mirrorless camera. We're really checking some boxes here for what I thought could happen with the lens. The bokeh is certainly different, but I don't see this as a sort of portrait or night street photography lens where I'd be pursuing beautiful bulbs of bokeh in the background. You can use this as a tool in your toolbox for staying light and small with your packed gear for the day while not cutting telephoto out of the picture. Would I bring the autofocus setup with me? At that point, I might just sneak an autofocus telephoto lens in the bag, but it looks like Raymond would bring the 2 adapter setup, which does not take up a lot of space compared to the lens and 1 standard adapter. Have you used a mirror lens, or would you consider it? At this price and capability intersection, I would. I'll add a link to the lens and adapters that we used in the description of this video. Thank you to TTArtisan for sending this lens for us to try. It was an eye-opening experience. And thank you for watching.